What are some good internet rabbit holes to fall into during this time of quarantine? I thought reading about the Death Valley Germans was super interesting and took a good few hours to read and do my own research. If it's asking for a login/password, that means the site is overwhelmed. I know it's frustrating, but I didn't realize it would get this much traffic. Try again in an hour or two and it should be fine. Web archive really comes in handy in these times. If you're looking for a new podcast to listen to during quarantine, there are two that I thought were very well done on this. Family and Law Enforcement gave a lot of interviews on both. One is called Scene of the Crime Delphi, the other is Down the Hill Podcast. There is also a subreddit that has a timeline of the events, witness encounter summaries, that is very well done, https://www.reddit.com/r/Delphi Murders Timeline. This case made a real impact on me, and I want a resolution for these girls so badly. There's a dangerous person out there who killed 2 little girls in broad daylight. I'm afraid he will do it again and another family will go through this horrible pain. It's so solvable, it's almost a numbers game because all it takes is the video/audio getting seen by one person who knows him and is willing to tip it in. The Rotten Library, rotten.com/library has an archive of essentially a pre-Wikipedia with handwritten articles on weird stuff, cults, murders, etc. It's cross-linked so it's easy to get lost. It's a relic of when the web was just scattered information with no real way to find it. The Rotten Library was my teenage introduction to so many oddities that today get reposted on Reddit every few months. Found a mirror, Rotten Library Mirror. My 90s TV. This is a fun, novelty website where you can easily lose yourself for hours with nostalgia. Basically, it uses YouTube videos to simulate watching TV in the 90s and allows you to specify the year you want, along with what categories you want to see when you change channels. There is also a My 80s TV and a My 70s TV. You could always have a go at the internet's hardest puzzle, NotePron. It's been online since 2004, but only 67 people ever made it through all 140 levels. I've been playing since 2007, I am in my 70s now. Since many people are asking questions, feel free to check out the main site with rules, FAQ, and hints. https://www.khanacademy.org/. I recommend this because it's become obvious that part of the problem right now is how many people didn't do well in school, me included, a big part of why I love this site, or did not have the opportunity, and thus tune out valuable information they don't understand. I wish more people took advantage of the fact that scholastic information is free, or close to it, just gotta look for it, online nowadays. Before the internet, you had to be lucky enough to afford education, and live in a place where that kind of opportunity was available. Most people in the past didn't get to change their future as easily as we can. My saved posts on Reddit take the time to go back through them and act in some way that reflects why you saved the post in the first place. So go to Wikipedia and pick a country and look at the history of their leaders. It can be interesting to see a list of them and the politics behind it, especially African countries cause they're wild how often they switch and for why. Learning history is my best way to time pass. Currently, I am diving deep into pyramids. It's pretty damn interesting to know how they did that stuff. Imagine lifting 2.3 million blocks each, the weight of elephants, to that height, and that too so many years ago when humans were. I would like to share a few things that I learned. Maybe you might like it and go deep into it. Try researching the Dupont family. Not the medical field, innovative part, but the fucked up evil incest haunted house parts. It's hard to find info because billionaires control everything, but it's there. One of my favorite things to do is look around on Google Earth in an area you never plan on traveling to. Zoom way in and learn about the small villages/communities/cities that live on completely different continents or tiny islands in the middle of nowhere. It's seriously insane how humans are willing to live anywhere. r/janitor. In the early 2000s, someone began posting on several message boards claiming to be a military time traveler from the year 2036. He arrived in 2000 on a stopover for personal reasons. His primary mission was to return to 1975 to recover an IBM 5100 computer which was needed to debug huge computer issues that would arise in his original time. Some have disregarded this as an elaborate hoax. The rub is, there is an anticipated Y2K-style computer frying event, Look up Unix 2038 problem, and only like 5 people in the world knew the IBM 5100 debugging programming existed, which was later confirmed to be true by someone involved with the project. His stories contained predictions from his timeline, time travel theory, physics of his machine, and even schematics of the time travel device. All his posts are archived. Enjoy your trip down the rabbit hole. Normally, I recommend the Wikipedia list of unusual deaths. I still do, but with the disclaimer that as we isolate ourselves to protect our physical health, the isolation may be damaging to our mental health. Reading about unusual deaths might not be for you right now. If you're good to go, here's the link, https://n.wikipedia.org/wiki/list_of_unusual_deaths. Prov equals flow 1. r/transcribers of Reddit is a pretty good way to kill some time by writing transcriptions for people who are vision impaired. Oh, man. Been waiting for this day for a long time. Here's my list in no particular order. 1. Dyatlov Pass Incident. 2. Voynich Manuscript. 3. Japan Airlines Flight 1628, extremely compelling UFO sighting. 4. MK Ultra. 5. Project Northwoods. 6. Tunguska Event, one of my faves. 7. Aleph formerly Om Shinrikyo, Japanese death cult. 8. Skinwalker Ranch. 9. The Philadelphia Experiment. 10. Japanese Unit 731, fucking gnarly. 11. Alleged Russian apartment bombings, false flag attacks in the late 90s. 12. Saudi Arabian involvement in 9/11. 13. Gulf of Tonkin incident. 14. Project Azorian. 15. Bilderberg meeting. 16. Max Headroom TV station hijacking. 17. Fast radio bursts, aliens? Maybe. But probably not. 18. Nazi bell. 19. Misplaced artifacts. Archaeological artifacts are showing up well out of their understood time range in geological areas they shouldn't be in. Awesome video. 20. Pretty much anything to do with Monsanto, but their roundup is prolific. Who remembers StumbleUpon.com? You create an account, choose your interests, then hit the stumble button and all of a sudden you will be shown a cool website that has to do with your interests. Thumbs up if you like that page, thumbs down if you don't. The more you like/dislike, the cooler your pages get. I always love the opportunity to be able to talk about http://archive.org because it is such a wonderful and free resource, especially at a time like now when you're looking for distractions. It has millions of free downloads for music, movies, books, software, etc. One very popular example is that it is home to a very large catalog of Grateful Dead recordings. There is also the Internet Arcade where you can play a lot of classic games along with the console living room, which is similar. They have access to tons of old PC games too, and you can even play the original Oregon Trail online. There's a lot more in their software section too. It also has the Wayback Machine, which has archived more than 396 billion web pages saved over time, so you can go back and see how websites were years ago. For example, here's Reddit on July 25, 2005, a month after it was created. A few years ago I couldn't sleep and fell into an oyster shucking rabbit hole, and it was a live stream of this lady shucking for pearls with different colors. Kinda like an unboxing video, but I needed to know what kind of pearls would emerge. Web serial novels. There are lots of good ones available for free. I haven't read too many, but I can personally recommend Worm and the Practical Guide to Evil. Did you know that we are actually a hybrid slave race forged by aliens to mine precious metals to repair the atmosphere of their home planet, and the Great Flood was them trying to wash us off the planet because they started falling in love with us? True story. Now you don't have to watch weeks of movies about the Anunnaki. Look up conspiracy theories, spooky stories, and mysteries on YouTube. Top 5s, bedtime stories, and lazy masquerade are all really good, and also paranoia inducing. Oh, and also Cold Case Detective. Ask a Mortician on YouTube. An entertaining way to learn about the green funeral industry and confront mortality. If you love the darkness, or gallows humor, or are really curious about what happens to your body when you die, to check it out. The entire saga of Frank Sinatra, Ava Gardner, John Farrow, Mia Farrow, Woody Allen, Roman Polanski, Andre Previn, Dory Previn, Tony Della Penta, Nancy Barbato, Jack Nicholson, Angelica Houston, Salvador Dali, Liza Minnelli, Hugh Hefner, Red Skelton, Dean Martin, Marilyn Monroe, Robert Kennedy, the Beatles, etc. We all know about Woody Allen marrying his stepdaughter. But there's so much more intrigue in this history. There's so much more. To get started, look up how Frank Sinatra got his scars. Then look up the rustic cabin incident. I pop into the comment history of you/poem_for_your_sprog every once in a while. The sheer amount of good quality poems being pumped out is pretty damn impressive. Webcomics, there's a ton out there of every genre you could be into. Personally, fantasy is my favorite genre, but I've found a ton of comics of many genres to enjoy. I personally read I assume, over 100 ongoing webcomics on multiple websites and platforms. Webtoons, App Plus Browser, is a great collection of comics which are all free to read, unless you want to pay to read a few episodes ahead, which will be released in a week's time each, which I don't do because there's plenty of content from daily originals updates plus Canvas, which is the more free model, no time limit once a week, for artists. I don't know if good is the right word, but I can personally spend hours reading about cults. I highly recommend checking out the, still active, Heaven's Gate website and then falling headfirst into some Wikipedia articles and YouTube videos. I don't remember where I got this from, but there's a little game you can do on Wikipedia. So you pick two completely random topics, and they have to be unrelated. Then you pick one of the topics and go to that wiki page. On that wiki page, you have to find links that will lead you to other wiki articles. You continue on that cycle until you end up with the other topic you chose. Not only are you passing time, but you're also learning about new things. Watching historical documentaries is pretty good. Some of them are on YouTube and are 8+ hours long, so you can spend days watching them. Dungeons and Dragons. Do a Google on Dungeons and Dragons PDF and you'll find tons of free content. Don't go to the Watch site, they'll charge you for older AD&D content that, emo, should be free. Then start a campaign. Then play with people online. r/shit wearaboos say might be some interesting reading too. My favorite one is Nazi Germany's War Machine. There are things about their organization during the war, as regards the army, not the ideology, how everything worked, what vehicles they used, generals, battles or strategies that I find very interesting and could end up reading about for hours. Check out Missing 411, it's a research of missing people and how the government cover up thousands of people disappear in national parks in strange ways, like a 4-year-old child in the middle of a line of people just vanishing and being found something like 3 to 5 miles away. The next day in a cliff they couldn't climb to or other places, missing shoes, cell phones ping on many cell towers at the same time in the area, scent dogs stop and lose scent in strange ways in some areas, etc. Or YouTube has many audiobooks and short stories. Lovecraft wrote horror stories, Cthulhu, old ones, etc. August Derleth worked with Lovecraft. Clive Barker wrote Hellraiser and a few other stories. Mr. Creepypasta, horror stories usually 7 minutes to 30 minutes but some 3 hours. Horror Babble, horror stories usually 7 minutes to 30 minutes but some 3 hours. Creeps McPasta, horror stories usually 7 minutes to 30 minutes but some 3 hours. Barely Sociable, tells about mysteries and strange world events. Paperback Mania, reviews paperback books. Paperback Mania. Alter, shows like Twilight Zone/Black Mirror. Dust, shows like Twilight Zone/Black Mirror. If you're into music, there are a ton of great channels on YouTube. Rick Beato does a lot of music and song analyses. Alex Ball has done some documentaries about Roland and the Prophet synthesizers. All really interesting history and information. True Cuckoo is a dude who has a ton of videos about synthesizers, drum machines, and jams. Not to mention tutorials. There's so much that you can learn. I started with guitar and recently I got into synths and drum machines, and YouTube is a great place to get to learn from plenty of talented people. I missed a ton, but I guess you can do the exploring yourself. Science channels. From entertaining to informative, Science channels have been my favorite types of channels to binge. Vsauce is one of the best at this. Backyard Scientist, Mark Ruber, and Slow-Mo Guys to name a few. And if you're up to a mental challenge, go for really heady, concept, theory-laden channels like PBS Spacetime and Quantum Gravity Research. Thank you for watching Reddit Space. Please subscribe if you love these Reddit stories.